Welcome to Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Today we have Terrence Wong.
Am I introducing myself?
No, you just say hello.
Oh.
You're like, that's the whole intro, yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually take 5. I messed up. It was worse before.
It's the first take. Come on now. But also today we're not in Berlin, we are in Paris, which if I do anything with the video footage, you'll see behind us through the amazing view, actually. We've got, we're on the 13th floor.
Yes.
In your apartment, Terrence.
This is my apartment. You're staying here.
Yes, I am, very gratefully on the couch. And we're sitting on the couch that is my bed, yes. Okay, so we've introduced this. So do you want to introduce yourself as something?
No.
Oh, come on now. So you do comedy in Paris, you run a bunch of shows.
Yeah. So I'm American, but I've been living here for 4.5 years. Started comedy 3 years ago and went full-time comedy 18 months ago. And so, yeah, with all this extra time now, I can devote it completely to comedy, and I've been able to use that time to add more and more shows. So right now I do 5 a week.
That's a lot to self-produce.
But 2 of them are open mics, and then I just sometimes don't go to my open mic.
I like that. It's for you lowly people. Just scurry along and go to my open mic.
I'm in Brussels when I don't go, because my girlfriend lives there, and then I have people who I work with, and they'll run it when I'm not there.
That's a good setup.
Yeah.
So 5 a week. That's I think in Berlin there's like Chris Doering and Dragoshu. Run as many, and then there's obviously Cosmic Comedy, but 5 for one person is a fuck ton.
It's I didn't start that way, but I feel like I have a good grasp of how to promote the shows. I have good relationships with my venues, and we make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I was running 4 shows in summer. That was a lot.
Yeah.
I had a Monday, I had a Wednesday, I had a Friday, and my Sunday. Yeah, that was, and that's all. That was. Oh, I did have like co-producers for, and then I had like monthly shows too. Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, but the thing is, for the open mics, like I host the open mics, so it's not. Unless I'm out of town, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the same for you, right? You only are not there if you're out of town.
Mostly yes. I used to do with the open mics that the registration was first come, first serve on this like website that I built, and then I forced myself to follow the same rules as everyone else, which is actually like really stupid. So I would sometimes not get a spot on my own open mic because I forgot to sign myself up. Yeah.
Oh my God, that seems. So we were talking a little bit about the Parisian, or maybe French, sort of stand-up comedy culture here.
Yeah.
And so for people who haven't done comedy in Paris, there is a culture that like, if you perform on an open mic, if it's a bucket, that the bucket is split amongst the performers.
Yeah.
On an open mic, like.
They say it is your right. It's comes from this like French culture of like very strong workers' rights. And so, we'll get down to the very cent. All right, here is your 196. Here's your 196. This one is 195 because, sometimes half cents, you can't really do it. So it doesn't get that extreme at my open mics. But there's, do you know about this Netflix show, Troll? It has a name in English, but it's a Netflix series that was about the like comedy scene in Paris. It's fictional. And made by the same guy who did, I think he did, or maybe it's a woman, 10%. I can't remember the name in English. Anyways, it's on Netflix, and they have like a scene where they're splitting the bucket, and you see that they're really like splitting by the cent, and so that culture absolutely exists here. It's very impractical when people are getting like, because at the open mics, we don't push it so hard with like, give us your money for this show, because we understand that it's sometimes comics performing for the first time, people trying out new material. And so we're grateful when people want to give us money. In my opinion, it's not expected.
I think people should, if people are coming and someone's organized the show, people should pay for the entertainment. If they don't like it, they should leave.
I guess.
Like
Yeah,
it's hard to leave, but if you're staying...
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about. It's like, it would be kind of awkward to leave in the middle of our show, just the physical setup of it, but yeah.
Make it so they can never leave. But like, if you're really not having a good time, but if you stay and if you laugh, then I think it's free for these things. I think it's free entry so that you don't have any commitment and you can leave if it's not. If you are offended by something, if you are uncomfortable being there, if you don't think it's entertainment and worth your time, you're free to leave. But if you stay and you are in good spirits at the end, absolutely, you should be paying for your. For me, like this Parisian culture is skewed to help comics, but like the expectation on the audience is not strong enough. Like, they're getting entertainment, they should be paying.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think there might be like a bit of a difference with like how the shows are run in Berlin versus Paris. I've been to Berlin a few times, and I got the impression that you have the most common type of show is an open mic.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite in Paris.
Yeah.
It's the least common show, and there's only right now 3 true open mics that you can get booked without sending a tape, right? So every other show, you must send a tape. You must go through whatever that person's booking system is, and then it's advertised as a showcase. That type of show, there's definitely the expectation, like, this is not free. You came here without paying something yet, but it's because it's just a different business model.
Okay, but it's still a bucket. These showcases.
Yeah, none of the shows are ticketed here.
Except for the French ones.
The French ones, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For me personally, why I don't is I don't have the right legal structure, tax structure, whatever, to do it. Also, a bit of fear, right, that it will be too difficult to get people to come to the show.
It will take a hit, but I know comics in Berlin are very much like, you need to start doing it. It's just a matter of starting it, and then and you lose, but then it builds up, and then it's, I was talking a little bit about this. I had this venue for my show, Glory Hole, and because it was a new venue and it was a bit outside of the city centre. Glory Hole had always been ticketed. But then first show I made it free, and then I moved it back to tickets, and it's just like a very hard venue to sell tickets for, but people will come if it's free.
Yeah.
So I kind of went back on always selling tickets for it. But yeah, the only other show that I sell tickets for is my solo show, and then Döner Comedy. And Döner Comedy, it's a different deal because it's like, people need to, they get €5 to spend getting a doner or like fries or whatever at the bar, and then the rest of the money is for me for my production, to be running the show. But yeah, it's I know other comedians in Berlin went through the process of making it ticketed. It's tough, but once you're doing it, then you're
I'm pretty certain I will
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
When I start respecting myself more.
Yeah, totally. I feel you. It's so funny because like Döner Comedy is like the kind of least professional looking show that I run, but it's the one that like has been running as a ticketed show the best, which is so weird because it's like in the backyard of a kebab shop.
Yeah, it's so Berlin from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, and it gets like, people know about it, which is so funny.
Awesome.
Like, yeah, people know about it. Like, there was a famous podcast, a German podcast that like referenced my Döner Comedy. Like, they were like, I was at Baghdad's and they do comedy. There's an English comedy show there. And I was like, yeah.
Was it already a famous Döner spot?
It's a famous Döner spot.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's there's a rap song that references.
Oh, wow.
Because they've got like the Baghdad Bistro, and it's called Baghdad, but they're Turkish. Like, it's.
Give me the bar where they mention the doner shop. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, they actually refer to the doner shop, but the doner shop, it's got the bistro, it's got the burger, like Kreuzburger is the burger one. Then there's the like more bistro-y kind of, like next to it, and then there's this like pizza pasta place on the very corner, and then there's a like a convenience store, a drink store, and then there's like a bakery, and it's the Baghdad Bakery. And in this rap song, it references like the Baghdad Baklavarin, like nothing's better than the Baghdad Baklavarin. I can't drop the bar for you. But
Bombs over Baghdad Bakery. Right?
Yeah,
Rip off of Outkast.
yeah.
Too American? I don't.
Outkast? Yeah, I love Outkast, but what's the...
Bombs Over Baghdad is one of their songs.
Oh, okay. Bombs Over Baghdad Bakery. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So it is an established doner place, and so I think that's why. But they also have like my doner shop, Baghdad. They also do a sexy doner rave every second Saturday in summer.
You see the confusion on my face, like
Sexy doner rave. The three words should never go together.
well,
Sexy
and rave, sure. What's
But
doner?
raves are seldom sexy. Like rave implies that it's going to be kind of gross intensity.
Okay, I've never been to one.
Have I been to a rave? Yeah, I've been to like little raves, like pandemic times, or even pre-pandemic in parks. Yeah, but yeah, they have like this whole outdoor area, and they get like 3 DJs in, and they party all Saturday.
3 DJs, like, and they're all doing their own thing.
The space isn't that big.
Yeah.
No, they'll have a lineup, and then people go and party there in the back. And because it's like the beers and everything they charge a little bit more than what you'd pay at a convenience store for a beer. So maybe it's like $2.50.
It's not the vibes.
Exactly. No, but it's still cheaper than any club you go to. You're paying €2.50 for 500 mils of beer. You've got fries if you need. You've got like you're close to everything in the city, and you can take drugs and dance in the afternoon.
In the afternoon?
It's in the afternoon.
It's like with daylight still.
Yeah, it starts at 12 p.m. and finishes I think at midnight.
Wow. I gotta
check out
check
Sexy
it out.
Dinner Rave.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to one too. It's every second Saturday in summer.
Sorry. Yeah, very often.
Yeah. They actually wanted to make merch with me. T-shirts with the Sexy Dinner Rave and Dinner Comedy for Baghdad. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to be part of this T-shirt. I want this T-shirt. So, yeah, I'm going to get onto that this year, actually. Should get some merch. But I think Dinner Comedy is my best brand.
Yeah.
Well, Glory Hole's good too, but I just haven't been able to find a stable venue that suits it.
Is there a reason why you've created like different brands instead of one?
So my first 2 were Glory Hole and Doner, and I kept them separate because they're very different vibes, right? Like
Really?
Glory Hole shouldn't be a Doner, and Doner shouldn't be a Glory Hole. Like that's.
What have we been talking about for the past 5 minutes? But sexy dinner rave. It sounds like they go perfect together, you know, like.
I should just call it Sexy Dinner Comedy. Or Glory Hole at Dinner Comedy. Yeah. Oh, gross. Just like, and like the image should just be like this dinner that's squashed through a hole. But.
That's what we call our backyard. That's the glory hole.
That's it. Yeah, right. The thing is, what makes me a bit sad is just that the Doner Comedy venue is so great, but I can't use it in winter.
Yeah, it's
and
outside.
it's really great. But I created Doner Comedy and Glory Hole. Glory Hole started off at this bar that I used to work at, and it was this really cool cocktail bar in Kreuzberg. Really little, but it meant that it would be packed if there were like 40 people. Like packed.
Yeah.
If there were 40 people in there. When it was 20, it was great. And it was a really great starting point for me to run a showcase. And the logic behind Glory Hole Comedy was I wanted an all Berlin-based lineup. It's not like international comics, but all the showcases that were running at that point, mainly Cosmic, would always book out-of-town talent. And it's like, why aren't you giving your local talent more stage time? You know, like, look after your locals and absolutely get in. But, like, you know, giving headline spots to a comic from Manchester who'd been doing comedy as long as I'd been doing it in Berlin, it's like, and you know.
It happens here, too. I do the same. It's like, you want to be nice to the people who are visiting because, you know, they're only here for some time. But, like, I feel bad, right, that I have people, you know, writing me messages, like, I'd really like to get a spot, but there's only so many spots, and it's not because I don't want to book that person. It's
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the funnel and how many people there are. But yeah, it just upset me that that like showcase spots were just not being given to Berlin-based comics, and it was like I'm seeing I know all these amazing Berlin-based comics, and why aren't they getting? So that was the logic. It was Berlin showcase, and and it was wanted me trying to give back and and learning how to run a showcase. But anyway, that bar got sold. Pandemic happened, but also the bar got sold, and then finding a new venue. But anyway, so those were my two comedy brands. But then sort of after about 10 months of starting those shows, I started guest running another show that was called Sexy Voice Comedy, which Dragos had, which he shouldn't have been running because it was the most awkward. Him hosting that show was hilarious for me, but it was awkward like him trying to do sexy voice comedy. Like, it's a funny concept.
That's role play. Give it to me. I'll just be the audience. So my role's pretty defined and easy.
Yeah, your role is very defined. So sexy voice comedy, he'd be like, okay, now I'm gonna try and do comedy with a sexy voice, and it was just like, oh, Dragos, stop! Like, this is not. And like it was a really cool concept because there'd be people coming up on stage. Like, I would sometimes do a French accent and be like, all right, I'm gonna do my jokes all in a French accent today. I think that's the sexiest accent. Or, or people would it was just it was very fun. But anyway, Dragos got me to take over hosting that.
Yeah.
Because he was like, you already have a sex, like your voice is already kind of I'm like, okay, whatever.
I was surprised when we started and then you did the podcast voice.
Oh yeah?
Has anyone ever told you have
No.
a podcast voice?
No.
I was like, am I listening to Sirius FM right now? What? Who is this?
What, just because I do when I do the intro?
Yeah, the intro.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's like a phone voice as well. Like, hello. Yeah, I worked on phones for a long time too. Did you ever work in a call center? Look at you. Okay.
No, I always had real jobs.
Get fucked. I was like a fraud investigator, but it's like phone based as well. Like, you've got to call them. Like, you don't meet them face to face when you're investigating.
Wait, are you committing fraud?
Exactly.
What's this in your bank account?
Yeah.
That's just my money. Oh, perfect. Okay, that's all I need.
Thank you, bye. Exactly, that was my entire job. Just cold calling people, asking them if they were committing fraud. So anyway, I started running the I was going to say sexy donor. Sexa donor was what I was going to say. Sexy.
That sounds
voice.
like a... Sexa donor sounds like a stadium.
It
right?
does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Live at Sexy Donor. Sexa donor.
Yeah.
But then I got this other venue, which is a venue that I still run at Myśliwska, and I was like, what should I thought about maybe doing Glory Hole there, and I was like, no, but Glory Hole's still working at this venue. And so I was like, okay, let's do adults only comedy open mic. And that's when Adults Only was born. And then it was like, okay, this is what I should run all my shows under. Mm-hmm. And it gives me scope to any new show that comes up. It's going to be within the framework of adults only comedy. Mm. And then, within another year and a bit of that, we were deep in pandemic, and not everyone, but a lot of people had been asking me to start a podcast, being like, why aren't you doing a podcast? and then Dragos was like, what? And I was struggling for a name and a concept, and Dragos one day was just like, why don't you just call it Adults Only? Like, that's your brand. I'm like,
yeah.
Boom! I was like, yes, that's exactly what I should do. So that's my and
that's
also
the main.
That's my main.
Or is it
production
structured that everything else is under Adults Only?
Technically, I run all my advertising through Adults Only.
Okay,
for Glory Hole, but for Derna Comedy. Yeah, look, basically everything is under Adults Only Comedy, but I can also run things separately under Glory Hole and Derna. But what's the other point I wanted to make? There was a point. Where was it going? Oh yes, but I started the pages and the identities separately so that I wouldn't be the Derna Comedy girl, or I wouldn't be the Glory Hole comedian. It'd be like Anna Barros is separate, and then these, and it also looks more professional. Like, a lot of people didn't know that I was behind Derna Comedy for quite a while. They thought that someone else was doing it, and I was just the host. Which is interesting. So I always wanted to keep it separate so that I wouldn't just be branded as that comedy show person.
Yeah. If I ever moved to Berlin, I would start a rival comedy brand. We would be minors only.
Minors only?
Yeah, it's bring your kids, please.
Yeah, you try doing that. Have you performed to children? Oh my God. I had a 14-year-old at my solo show in Luxembourg, and it was like, you shouldn't be here.
That happens quite often in Paris, where people bring their kids to the show for some reason, or people will ask me on like Facebook, is this show good for bringing my, or no, they won't phrase it that way. They'll phrase, am I allowed to bring my kids? And I'll tell them, technically, yes, because I don't really care. Yeah. This is not a show for kids, so you should know that.
Yeah.
And it's because the French are cool with that. They're like, this is going to be fun for the family. We're going to listen to these Americans and British make sex jokes, and we're just all going to hold hands and enjoy that together, little Jean-Louis.
Little Jean-Louis. And then 20 years later, he's in therapy, being like, and then the comedian pointed at me and made a semen ejaculation gesture, and I've never been able to eat mushroom soup again. You know, like the thing is, I have been asked recently a few times if audience members can bring their child, and I say, like, for example, to my Sunday open mic, which is a show up to go up. You know, there's no quality control, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I have actually said, no, please don't bring your 6-year-old or your, if they understand English, they shouldn't come in, because it's not appropriate for them. And I don't want my performers feeling restricted and uncomfortable to do what they want to do.
That's thoughtful. It's nice, like it's a very thoughtful response for everyone involved.
Yeah, because it's like that. I don't want people to be self-censoring.
Yeah. Because
a parent has thought it appropriate to bring a child to an event that is not appropriate for children.
And an event called Sexy Döner Rave Comedy.
Exactly. Oh my God. Or like, it's called After Party Comedy, and the poster has pictures of naked women lying on the floor, and that picture is from an artist, and the name of the picture is called After the Orgy.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, these are Germans. They're like, yeah, this is not. I did a terrible German accent.
You sounded like French, actually.
Yeah, not a problem for us. We have the same, you know.
This is not a problem. That's more German, French even still.
Yeah. We like this photograph in our house too.
Yeah. So children must learn. So children, no. Minors only, that will be your comedy brand. There was actually a show in Berlin called, what was it called? I can't remember what it was called, but it was run by a comedian who had a child, still has a child. Child's still alive. Now has 2 children, but it was a daytime show, and it was so that young parents could bring their babies. And so the babies would be crawling around, and it would be like a baby.
Okay, but in a separate area.
No.
Oh.
Like basically, I didn't do the show because I had a full-time job at the time. But the children could just like sit and hang around, and on the floor, and the parents would be in there, and it was a show for parents and children.
Did you perform at it?
No, I couldn't because I had a full-time job. But they did. I wanted to, and they were asking me, but I was working at the kindergarten, so I was like, this is what I do every day, guys. Come on.
When people change their material for that show, or just go, you know what? They're babies, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. People didn't. Yeah, because it's like they don't understand, so it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, do you want to go into any speaking of adults only stuff, do you want to go into adults only territory?
We talked about this a bit briefly yesterday. Am I like ruining like how the sausage is made?
No.
Yesterday I asked her, should I be prepared for, like, how can I be prepared for the podcast? And then you asked me if I'd seen the podcast before, and I said maybe a few minutes, and I was under the impression that the podcast was really just like come with a dirty sex story.
Just come and a dirty sex story. Yes.
So you said no. but you can.
Yeah, I said you don't have to, but I want to set the scene for this conversation. We're at a very nice French. Would you call it a brasserie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whilst you were eating French onion soup, we were sharing a plate of like baked camembert. James was eating like a big chunk of pig with mashed potato,
Yeah.
and I was eating mussels with French fries.
Yeah, and then I'm just dipping into my ooey gooey cheese. Like,
Yeah.
should I come with a sex story to the podcast?
And here I am, like pinching mussels out of shells with another shell, sauce drip. No, it wasn't gross. But yeah. Anyway, so yes, do you have you said you had an awkward sex story?
Yeah. So, this is the only time I hooked up with someone after a show. And we went back to her place, and
How long had you been doing comedy?
2 years. It's really the only time I've ever done that because
You have standards?
no,
No.
I mean for a while, like I was creepy.
For a while you were creepy.
I mean, like
Okay, that needs a whole bunch of explanation.
not like predator kind of. I mean, just like I'm sure you have comics in Berlin that are very down to clown after the show and it's like gonna be trying like flirty with like people after the show and like so
Yes.
it wasn't from a lack of trying.
Okay, this
But
is
I have no
hilarious.
game.
So you were, okay, interesting. Yeah, recently I did this Dirty Love special for Valentine's Day, and I did this crowd work with this woman, and then this comedian who's very flirty. He's more in he's in the German scene. He's not really in the English scene. He started doing he did a little bit of crowd work with her, basically like, oh, so who was single? No, he was like, so I'm single, and she was like, yes, in the front row, and then he like spent a lot of his set flirting with her, and then in the break, like. She was like, okay, you're leaving to him. She's like, oh, so you're leaving? Or maybe I should go too. I was like, no, comedian, you have to stay for the second half. So she stays for the second half. And then you guys can go home and fuck.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, some people have real game. I have taken home quite a,
Well, it
or
happens
gone
all the
home
time.
with, yeah. It does happen quite a bit.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? No.
It doesn't mean that everyone's fair game, but it does happen sometimes. It's usually not when I'm hosting, just to clarify. When I'm hosting, it's a different position of power, like, as in
Okay,
like,
I see, yeah.
it's more of a customer service situation, but if I'm just performing, then it's, if it happens, then it's fine, because they just saw me do a good
Right.
job, as opposed to me needing, like, I'm not waiting for donations from them, or they didn't pay me to produce a night
Right.
for them. Yeah,
Everyone gets what they want. The chuckle fuckers, us, right?
yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, I went home with this girl, and then
Did you work hard to get this to happen, or was she already into it? Like a lot. Like, was it easy, or did you have to like game it up a bit?
I had to game it up a little bit, but no, but she was down.
Can you recall what your techniques were? Like, what was the gaming up?
I think I made fun of French people to her face because she was French.
Oh, hot. Yeah. Okay. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I suppose I made fun. Yeah, okay, go on. Yep.
And she asked me to go down on her. I enjoy doing that. I think it's fun, right? I go down on her. Putrid, very yucky.
You just straight up said putrid.
Yucky.
Yucky.
It wasn't nice down there. Something was wrong. bad smells.
My
Bad
first,
taste.
when you said like you like going down, you like that, I was like, well, you've chosen to live in France, and it's definitely like the nation with some of the pongiest food and like the strongest flavors. Like
Yeah.
that pate you had yesterday. It was just like, oh my god.
A bit more gamier than the pate, I would say.
Oh.
Gamey.
She had a gamey puss.
know.
That's
We're talking about red meat here. No, she wasn't on her period.
okay. Well, red meat's fine. Yeah.
So, I used to do competitive swimming, so I'm very good at holding my breath.
Yeah.
So I was down there for quite a bit still.
Yeah. Good.
Just
Wow.
holding
just
my breath.
holding your breath.
Yeah.
I never put two and two because we both just talked about how we both swim, and I've swum. I think my swimming abilities and like holding my breath definitely help with my blowjobs. I was thinking that recently. Recently, like, yeah, like
100%.
yeah. That's why. That's where that skill comes from.
Right.
Okay. Not
Listen,
just
ladies, before you go to, it's called like apneic exercise. I don't know if that's what it's called, but just like
Yeah.
hold your breath.
Yeah. No, but I hadn't really like the other day I was going down on someone and I was like, God, am I just so good at holding my breath because I do this so often?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I think it's the swimming as well. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, it's the circular breathing. It's like, as in, it's like breathing through my nose and then
I never thought
breathing.
about that for blowjob, but like the same with like a
Yeah.
trumpet player.
Yeah. It's like, it's breathing
Yeah.
basically just through my nose, in and
Wow.
out.
So you can hit the rhythm. You don't need to come up for air. It's
Yeah,
just-
well, exactly. Ideally, that's yeah. So anyway, it was putrid, but you still did the time.
I was there for I feel like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Right. And
Did you almost come back up like as soon as you tasted it?
I feel like I held it together pretty well. Like I didn't tell her anything and make her feel bad. Right.
You're sober as well.
Yeah, I don't drink.
Yeah.
So I was sober. Right. I knew I was having a good time. I was going to try and make the most of the situation. Right. I knew I was having the time I was having was bad enough that I knew I couldn't make her come.
Yeah.
But, we'll have fun here and then come back to other fun stuff later.
Yeah.
And eventually, we finished hooking up. I went home.
Does that mean like you came?
Of course I did. Did she? I don't, it's probably more likely no than yes, but I can't say 100% it wasn't a yes. I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyways.
She wasn't like, oh my God, I came, obviously.
No, definitely not.
Do French women do that? Do they announce? Or have you got experience enough with French women to know if they... Although it's not necessarily a nationalistic thing if they announce. But most men are like, actually, I don't know.
I think none of the French women I hooked up with did.
Announce?
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Not even like my ex-girlfriend is French, so we had a long relationship, and so we were certainly comfortable with each other. And I probably even asked at some point, oh, it's hot if you tell me when you're coming, but no.
Okay.
But I'm sure some do. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Right into the comments or wherever, just if you announce, just say I announce.
I
and
announce.
I'm French.
If you're a woman, do you announce when you come? I will always say if I came.
Nice.
I'll be like, well, usually
Bro,
I
that
laugh
deserves
after
a
I come.
fist bump.
That's a fist bump. I usually laugh after I come as well. Like once I come, I'm then laughing. Because I'm usually like, oh my God, that was so ridiculous. And I start laughing. And then I have to be like, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the joy of having come. Yeah.
Sorry, this is just cum fun. This is cum fun time.
Exactly. It's just cum laughter. It's
Yeah.
just cum giggles.
Yeah.
Giggles. And but yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah. So anyway, you came, you wrapped it up.
I went home, and then the next day, I had nothing planned for the day. I decided I'm gonna go have brunch just by myself somewhere nearby, enjoy that. I'm starting to eat brunch, and then in the middle of brunch, I start feeling extremely ill, right? And so I leave all my food there, go to the bathroom, start puking. Yeah.
Shit.
And so basically the story is I'm pretty certain her stanky ass pussy gave me food poisoning.
Once you left, she just was like, there's the pate.
What's this doing? No, but really, I remember the only thing I'd eaten that day was fries from McDonald's. And I've had fries from McDonald's, over 100 times. Or
I don't
something.
think you can get sick from fries unless
Exactly.
someone with food poisoning touched the fries, but they don't touch them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's very little chance that you're gonna get very little. Oh man, you got food poisoning from a pussy. And it tasted bad. I wonder what was going on down there. I wonder what. So did you get tested later, or have you been tested since?
For food poisoning? Oh, you were really that wasn't food poisoning, Terrence. You have full-blown AIDS right now.
shit. But like the thing is, there are like bacteria you can get from oral sex that can stay in your system that are essentially STDs or STIs.
No, I
You didn't
didn't.
get
I didn't think about that. I mean, I did think about like I definitely got food poisoning from her, but I didn't think like actually it's probably not food poisoning and I should get tested.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because that's, well, you're probably fine if like there's no symptoms and none of your other lovers have told you that there's a problem. But yeah, I recently had, okay, this is a story that I haven't talked about, but I recently had, yeah. I've talked about it with like 5 people in my life. And the first 3 people I kind of, or 4, yeah, like 4 people I swore them to secrecy, and then I've told like 1 other person or 2 other people. And anyway, that's so irrelevant. But basically, I had a bit of a reaction to. I was sleeping with quite a few people last year, and you met the boyfriend that I had.
Yeah.
As everyone knows, I broke up with him in Paris, so it was shortly after I did. It was actually the night I did your second show, that it was the end.
Yeah, I little fingered that shit. I was whispering in his ear that night. Like, go be a dick and yell at her in the street.
Yeah, you little fingered that. Such a gross term.
No, it's like game of.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, it's like, yeah. Just like imagining. But anyway, so yeah, I had a few lovers in this period because we had an open relationship, and even though I was using protection with most of them. And,
A bit more than cream pie curious, are we, Anna?
Yeah. And anyway, and I started feeling like there was an aggravation in the area, like a sort of like a heat and a pain, a sting when I was peeing. This is a lot of information. We've never talked this explicitly before, Terrence, but you're going to get the most intense story I've got. I'm not going to go into graphic details about my vagina, but basically it was stinging when I peed.
You have a video on TikTok of your shaved pubes on your face, Anna. You've done the worst.
But you're not seeing my vagina. You're seeing. Okay, so after my solo on Tuesday here in Paris, a lot of the people wanted to see the video on social media that I posted of my pube moustache, and the genuine shock and admiration coming from the audience was like, they were really like, wow, like I forgot how much hair it was that I managed to.
This is art.
It is art, right? It was such a big. I forgot how big the moustache was that I made, and the fact that there was leftover pubic hair is crazy. Like there was still pubes in the jar I didn't stick on.
Jar. Yes. That makes it sound like you were actually literally several cycles of you collecting.
It was just one trim. Okay. Which is admittedly it was my armpit hair as well as my pubic hair. I'm pretty sure I trimmed yeah. I didn't collect the leg hairs though. It was just the pubes and the armpit hairs, because they were like, the armpit hairs got to about this long. Also, my armpit hairs were pretty straight too. Like they were just a little wave. Like I feel like curly body hair is so much more attractive than straight body hair. Now, most people, audiences, the only people that have ever been like, me too, have been of Asian heritage.
That thinks curly is more attractive than straight?
Not opinion-wise, that also have straight body hair.
Yeah, mine is straight, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's like, as a non-Asian nationality woman, it's like the only people that have ever been able to relate to me are like, yeah.
I didn't, like, you said it and you're saying like curly is more attractive or cuter than straight.
It's cuter.
And then I was like, just trying to imagine in my head, like, what does that look like? I know it exists, and then just thinking like.
But your girlfriends or past lovers may have been, probably, did they have not straight pubes? Or was it always clean shaved, or?
I think they were all
pretty
shaved.
Clean shaved. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fair. All right, you just didn't get to see.
I guess there's one that, but she was Asian, and then she changed to clean shave. But in the beginning, yeah, but they're straight.
Straight. I like the body movement of the. Yeah, straight down, straight down.
Yeah.
So anyway, story goes back to, yeah, I really wish I had curly pubes. That would be great, and curly everything. I think then it could be cute, but anyway. Just takes up too much. It's just like it can like blow in the wind too much. And anyway, so mustache, pubes. How do we get to this? I was talking more about this this problematic situation. Aggravation. Oh, because I'm talking about explicit stuff, and you've seen my pube mustache. That's how we got onto that. So anyway, I was experiencing discomfort, and then I was inspecting it quite regularly because I'm like, this is odd. And then within so there was redness, and then I noticed like these little like cuts, like little paper cuts around certain areas. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I started freaking out, and I was like, I think I've got herpes. Now, just as a disclaimer for everyone listening, there should be less stigma around herpes. 1 in 5 people have herpes. You can get it even when you use protection, like very easily. And even if someone has mouth herpes and has something dormant and they go down on you, that can become genital herpes. And if someone has genital herpes and there's no outbreak, it's still possible to transmit it.
Yes.
So there should be much less stigma around it. Apparently, all doctors are just like, look, if you have genital herpes, it's one outbreak, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Maybe it happens again when you're super stressed, but that's pretty much the whole experience of having herpes. But anyway, I think it's still extremely stigmatized because there's no cure for it. And so that's why people are really scared of it. And I get that. And I was like super fucking stressed. I was like, oh my God, I've got herpes. So
Was it herpes in the end, or is that what's coming next?
I will develop the story and you'll find out.
I just wanted to know if, well, I'll just to be safe.
Get back in this shot, okay? You get back in this shot. For the listeners, he just moved away from me. Okay, so I go to this gynecologist, and I'm like, I'm worried I have herpes. She gets me up, I'm all spread eagle. She's like, oh, it looks a little bit different. She goes in deeper. She's like, oh, no, it's herpes. And I'm like, oh, my God, okay. And that night, I was going up to visit a lover in a different city and staying with him. And it was like the day I get told that I have genital herpes. And I had a show that night, and like got all this ointment that I had to like be putting on parts. I was like, fuck. And I get up there anyway, and I ended up partying pretty hard after my show, and then going back to his place and being like, all right, so the thing is, and like needing to like, and he was so cool about it, and he still wanted to like try and please me in a sanitary, healthy way.
You got another hole.
Yeah, well, but when you've got an outbreak, you shouldn't do anything.
Even no anal.
Oh, butt as well. No.
Okay.
Yeah, even no anal.
Especially.
Because you can also, like, genital herpes is all the areas. So if you've got, like, one thing, like, let's say on your front, that can still easily spread to the back, and, yeah, it's the whole area. So anyway, he was like, he's like, I still want to, and I was like, cool, and so still, like, did stuff with hands, and I was like, that's, like, he was that cool about it. And anyway, then the gynecologist did some tests. Then I had to go to Australia like a week and a half later, and I was like, all right, going to Australia. Okay, I guess I have herpes. Blah blah blah, and these little paper cuts, like it had all sort of dissipated because I also had to take some medication for what I thought was a urinary tract infection, which I think I did have a urinary tract infection, and so everything kind of dissipated with the cream and whatever. But when I was in Australia, the little paper cuts came back a little bit. So like there's a little, and I was like, what the fuck? So then I was going into pharmacies, and I did research, and I found out that the medication for genital herpes is actually the same as for mouth herpes. If you get and you can get tablets. And so there I was going into pharmacies because I didn't have a prescription, and I didn't want to go through the system. And I was like, hey, can I get this? Like, I don't have a script. I'm just over from Europe. And they were like, oh, oh, I guess we can give it to you. And it's like this different dosage, but it's the same medication. So I did this at 3 different pharmacies and I took this medication. Anyway, I get back, on my flight back to Germany from Australia, I get a missed call from the gynecologist. I call her straight back when I get into, I couldn't reach, and then anyway, when I land back in Germany, I call them and they're like, oh, we've got your results back. You've got an infection. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, do I have herpes? They're like, oh, we didn't test for that. I'm like, what? They're like, no, we didn't test for that. I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't you have tested for that? That's what I came in worried I had. They're like, no, but you have this bacteria. It's called Gardnerella. Sounds wonderful, I think. Very pretty sounding bacteria. And it's kind of like vaginal vaginal bacteriosis. What is it? There's like basically like a bacterial infection, but it's it's called Gardnerella. And I was like, okay. I went in. They gave me these fucking like suppositories that look like little like bullets of soap that you have to put in your vagina. Nice. At night, and then they like dissolve in you.
Suppository, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah, a suppository.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had like 10 days of suppositories. But like when I went in to get the script, I was like, well, can I get tested for herpes now? And she's like, well, no, take the suppositories and then we'll test you afterwards. So I'm still like I got herpes and a fucking bacterial infection. Take the suppository, go back in, and I'm like, I want to get tested for herpes. And she's like, the gyno's like, okay, all right, well, you have herpes. I'm like, I would like to get tested for it. So she's like, okay, let me get the form. And she gets out the form and she's like, okay, well, this test doesn't test for herpes. And she's like, oh, gets another form. She's like, okay. The big test tests for herpes, but it's 60 euro. I'm like, I don't care. Like, test me for herpes. So she tests me a week later, but she's like almost trying to tell me don't get tested. A week later, I get my results and I'm negative to everything. I don't have any type of herpes simplex virus. I don't have anything. This bitch didn't even want to test me and was just like, you have herpes. So the moral
Classic case.
Classic.
Classic case of the herp.
But what the fuck?
Shut and close, Johnson.
Yeah, but she didn't even want it. She was just like, yeah, you have it. Yeah, you have it. What the, like, and she didn't even understand why I'd want to get the confirmation around it. It's like, I had to explain to her, I want to know if I have herpes so that if another outbreak happens, I can be aware of that for my partner so that I don't have to, so if I have it, then I know that I need to communicate that with my partners in a certain way. If we want to have sex without protection, So anyway, I bring this up because the Gardnerella, I am certain I got from a mouth that ate me out. Or maybe from a penis, but I'm pretty sure it was from a mouth that ate me out, and it was a dirty mouth that gave me this infection.
What makes you so certain it was that and not a penis?
It could be the penis, but it's because I know someone else who had sex with this person, and they also had like an infection afterwards. And I think it was this dirty mouth that passed. It could have been the penis as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the source of my, food poisoning could have been...
A bacteria.
Say his name.
No. I could, but I'm not going to do that. But I lived for like fucking 2.5 months thinking I had genital herpes. And like the way it, like I love going to sex parties. And actually for people who do have genital herpes, it's not the end of the world if you do have it. And a lot of like, basically all the research I ended up doing, like, and I went deep into the research. It's like 1 in 5 people have it. Most people who have it don't even know they have it.
Yeah.
And so really it was like, when I was looking into it, it was like, okay, well by the end of it, I was like, okay, I guess now I'm just going to have to, for all my partners, I'm just going to have to lie to them.
Is it real quick? Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't, I still haven't figured out the setting where it moves to show.
Okay, yeah, I was just...
It is not, it's recording. You can see here. Look at that.
Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. A lot of people look at that and they're like, this bitch doesn't know what she's doing. So anyway.
It's the past, like, 18 minutes in my head was that over and over. Anna's stupid. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Anna's stupid.
I need to check if she knows that we're not recording right now. Yeah. It's totally fine. So anyway, I think that, I wonder, like, I guess you don't have a bacteria, but I wonder if a pussy can give you food poisoning. I have vomited after I swallowed someone's cum before.
I would believe it.
What, just that I've sucked enough dick that, like, once that would happen? Or you believe that cum could make you vomit?
The former.
Okay, good.
I'm kidding.
Oh, no. Fuck you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but that was a boyfriend, and I think I was just sick already. Like, I don't think it was the penis that made me sick, or the cum. But I think it was like, I already had an unsettled stomach, and then the cum hit it, and it was like, my body rejected it. Yeah. Is that your phone?
Oh, yeah. It is the manager at, like, one of my venues.
Let me pause it.
Okay.
All right. Stop.
Hey,
Okay, we're back from a phone call. Excellent. Comedy admin. Okay, so we've talked about gross sex things. Okay. Did you ever see this person again, by the way, that made you sick? Oh, you saw her again? She your girlfriend now? No. You saw her again because she was an audience member that continued to return?
No, for a booty call.
Oh, you went back there? Oh my God, that's the worst part, dude. Did you tell her that you vomited the next day and you said it was her pussy?
No. I just didn't eat her out the second time.
Oh, wow. You're like, I'll stick my dick in there, but with protection, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you, like, go and have do a little bit of reconnaissance to see if it was different, or you just straight up was like, no?
I think she even, like, asked if I would go down again. I was like, no,
I'm tired.
Yeah. I don't remember what I said, but it's probably something that was, like, very easily, like, okay, this is bullshit, but whatever.
Yeah, nice.
No game.
Oh, you went back. That's amazing. That's really funny.
Oh my God. I realized, I didn't mean it necessarily in that way. I just meant, like, when I was, like, being coy about not going down on her, but also, yeah, this.
What?
Well, I have no game, and so
You went back to that, yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I guess we do go back. I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty quick to, cut things off, actually.
Yeah. Good for you.
Good for me. I don't know. I had a date with a Frenchman on. This is random. I guess I want to process it. I had a date with a French guy the day before I came to Paris this week, and we had a really nice date, like really good, sort of just a couple of drinks before my show, and he wanted to come to my show, and I was like, I prefer it if, like, it just puts a bit of pressure for me, you know, like. And also, like, I've got to set the whole thing up, and you're just going to be hanging around. And then, you know, I've got to work, so I can't really, like, I've got to be getting people into the show, and I can't look out, like, it's not that I didn't say I can't look after you, but it's, you know, he's just going to be waiting around for, like, another hour, and then I'm going to be talking with the comedians, and he's not going to be part of I'm not going to be part of his experience there, except in the capacity of the host once I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the date's over, and it's not gonna. Yeah, it just creates an odd sense of responsibility for me, and yeah. So anyway,
why don't you come on a date with me to the office? Right, that's fun.
Exactly. I didn't throw it at him like that, but often when guys on dating apps are like, oh, well, maybe I can just come to one of your shows. I'm like, let's not meet at my office, you know?
Would it be different if it was a spot instead of your own show?
I still, like, it is different, but it's still, like, you're coming to my work. Like, this, I am working. Like, I'm working on new material. I'm working on, like, I'm not getting to evaluate your competency at your job on the first date. Like, you know, like, I have gone to dates where a guy works at a bar and he's like, come to my bar. And then I come, and then, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I go home with him afterwards. But, like, I think I've only done that, like, once.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, being a bartender is very different to being a comedian. But okay, so my story was that, yeah, and so the thing is, the date was going really well. He expressed an interest. I was like, well, let's walk to the venue and see. And like we're talking, and by the time we got to the venue, he's like, look, I don't think I should come. Actually, I think like I don't want to intrude. And I was like, fantastic. Like this is such a great sign of him understanding sort of boundaries and how that, you know, how it would feel for me. And I was like, look, I've had such a great time. I'm looking forward to like seeing you again. We hug. He's like, yeah, write me. And so I've written him. I didn't write him that night or the next day, but like I think the night after, and because I was busy. I was like, I had the show. The show was a fucking nightmare, by the way, and I was so glad that he didn't come. Like I cried twice during that show.
I'm not laughing at like you crying, but laughing at like if he had come to the one where you cry,
Yeah, like I don't often cry at shows. It doesn't happen, and like it's usually just in the toilet, in the break, or whatever.
Okay.
If it does happen, usually only ever happens at this show. I think it's because it's a Monday show, and Mondays are a tough crowd anyway. Like usually Mondays, it's a bit harder to get people excited. Same with like like daytime Sundays. And usually after you come off the high of doing your Friday night and your Saturday night shows, or you're a fucking like king on stage, and then you do a Sunday show and you're like, woo, rough, you know, like they're just not as into it as they have been the nights before. Monday can be like that, but also like this show, I just got like, when it was time for my set, there were just people walking into the room, and I only had like 2 minutes of my set left, so it's like, I didn't get to really like end my set the way I wanted to, and like, and it just didn't feel great. And then a comedian said something really dumb to me straight after my set, which was, Anna, you're really improving. Your jokes are much less one-dimensional than they used to be. And I was like,
take this backhand.
oh man, that was just like, it's like, how dumb can you be? And to say that to someone that's like running a show and bringing you on, it's like, what are you doing? And someone who thinks that he's a friend of mine. Anyway, he's apologized, whatever, but it was just like, I was frustrated by the set, and then he said this dumb shit. And anyway, and then the second half of the show, all these young French people were in the crowd, which is fine, but they were just constantly talking throughout, and I had to like discipline them. I was like, and I even did a shh at one point, and then like 3/4 of the way through the second half, I actually, like, everyone's talking on stage because it's a panel show. I get up and I actually go to them and I say, if you keep talking, you have to leave.
Yeah.
And then I sat back down, and then there was still a little bit disruptive, and then at the end of the show, I was just like, and then all of those cunts didn't donate. All the people that were talking, like they gave me like €1.20, and it's like, no, this isn't, I said the donation is €10, this is like €7 to €10. And one bitch even, she was like, oh, we were very loud, as she was dropping the coins into the bucket. We were very loud, but we weren't too loud. And I looked down the donation thing, and she's like left rubbish in my thing. I was like, you can keep your rubbish. And I just didn't even respond to what she said. I was just like, nah. And so then I get off the stage.
Were they drunk?
Yeah, they were also drunk. And then I get off and I'm back in the sort of the DJ booth area packing. And I'm crying. I'm just like, it was just so frustrating. And it's not that I wanted more money. It was just like, I knew that these assholes that were interrupting and disrupting the whole show were going to also not, show the gratitude and even be self-defensive around it. And I was quite diplomatic, but they were really pushing it. Anyway, so I cried afterwards, and all the comedians were like lovely, and it was, I stayed for a drink afterwards and talked to everyone and felt better. But I was so glad that this date didn't come because it was very emotional. I also realized that I was emotional because I took MDMA 2 days before, and it's the classic thing of like 48 hours is when you lose the serotonin, like the serotonin.
That's how long it stays in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when you're like, and it was like, oh, that's why I was so emotional. Yeah. It was only the drink afterwards that I was like, oh, I wouldn't usually be this sensitive.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I ended up texting this guy, and like the sort of 2 weeks we were texting before we met up, he was quite quick to respond, and now he hasn't responded, and it's like, wow, like heartbroken by all the French people before I came to France. Anyway. Yeah, so I wanted to share the frustration of the
French ghosting you.
French
We
ghosting.
call that fantôme.
Phantom. Wait, I'm gonna check my dating app to see if he has actually responded. Maybe, but Anyway, let's have a look.
Which one is it? The dating app.
He
Sorry.
didn't fucking respond. Yeah, he hasn't responded. I wrote him, but maybe he was waiting for me to text back that night or the day after. Maybe he's done that thing where he's like, oh, she hasn't actually written to me straight away. But I'm also probably just making excuses. Yeah, he has not responded. And I wrote back to him on the Tuesday night. Yeah. Like 24 hours after our date. And he has not written to me.
If you really want to see him again, I think it's worth one more message.
I wrote it there though. I wrote hey, it was really nice meeting you. Let's move off this app. Here's my number. Hinge is the app that I was using.
I met my girlfriend on Hinge.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How did that all work out? What was the process?
Well, for us put together normal good people, it works, so.
Get fucked.
Yeah, I liked Hinge more than the other dating app. I had more success using Hinge than other dating apps. I think if you're a guy, it is the dating app that rewards you more for being more charming versus Tinder and Bumble.
Interesting. Why? Because there's all of the kind of text prompts?
Exactly.
And even the voice note prompt?
They didn't have it when we were using Hinge.
Yeah.
But you can also write your message before you've matched and they can read that.
Yes.
Do you want that? You want people to write a message or you want them to just kind of like a photo?
I like it when they write a message, but more often than not, the people that write the message I don't match with. Just statistically speaking, but some of them, yes.
Yeah.
But I like it if they've actually looked and they've.
Yeah.
And I seldom just because I think it's kind of lazy. I like to put a bit of effort and be like, oh, so you've read this book, wanker? No, but I'll say something slightly intelligent or maybe not, just like a joke, Yeah. I like to reference. I like to show that I've read the profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my experience using dating apps is that, and heterosexual, dating, was very rare for me that I would have women write messages and responding to something in my profile.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of data. I was doing a lot more liking.
Yeah.
And then if there was a like, it would be just the like on the prompt or the picture.
Yeah.
But it always stood out when someone would, and I would always respond.
Yeah. I don't always respond because sometimes I just look at the profile like, woof, no. Or what they've written, I'm just like, ugh.
Okay, I probably didn't always respond, but I think it really increased the likelihood. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like Hinge. I've met, I think, just one of the people that I have sex with I met through Hinge.
Nice.
But I haven't had any. Oh yeah, my last boyfriend was from Tinder, actually.
Yeah, it works. Tinder, yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of people meet on Tinder.
A lot of people do. So yeah, this whole there's a new wave of people who don't like dating apps, but it's or who refuse to be on them. But I'm like, I don't know. It's why would you say no to the convenience of meeting people from the comfort of your home? Or the comfort of anywhere. I like it.
Well, it worked for me, so yeah, I like it. I did. I don't like it anymore.
Do you remember what you wrote to her, or did she write to you?
I wrote to her, and her, she had the prompt, which was you'll impress me if I think you can, and then
if you have dot. You're like, I gotta buy this thing. If you don't know what a metate is? Metate. It's what is it? It's it's
a rectangular stone used to grind dried legumes. We're talking about dried corn. You can grind chocolate. It is ancient Aztec technology.
Yes.
And I own one.
You own a metatem.
We were talking about, I don't remember how it came up yesterday.
No, me neither. But well, because we made tortillas today. I made fresh tacos, and we were talking about maybe using that or you selling it. You selling it because it's not practical to use it.
Yeah, it's just a decoration right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
what I wrote to her, yeah.
Yeah. So she said I'll be impressed if you.
And then so that's like the prompt, and then she has to complete it, and then she completed it with, if you can guess where I'm from. And then she had a photo that it was like clear that this is like her in Taiwan, but she's white, right? So I just wrote like, "Are you Taiwanese?" or something, like something. Yeah,
Something stupid.
Yeah. And then, but I might have been like, "Are you Taiwanese?" Like ... like, haha, just kidding, you're Lithuanian.
Okay.
Because her name was very unique. I'd never heard it before, so I just Googled it, and then
That's not creepy at all.
her first name, because they only give you the first name.
I know. They only give you. You say that with like a hint of regret. Like, I couldn't do a proper Google search.
I don't need the last name. Used to work in tech.
Yeah, right.
We have the technology.
Yeah.
And I confirmed I have a Lithuanian friend, just to confirm, like, is this Lithuanian name? And then, I might have also written the entire message. I might have been, "Are you Taiwanese?" written in Lithuanian, because I remember I asked my friend.
Wow, you really put the effort in there. Wow, good job. Yeah. Good job. And did she respond quite quickly?
Yeah.
She was Lithuanian. She is Lithuanian.
Yeah, she's Lithuanian.
She's still Lithuanian.
She was really not going to enjoy being mentioned in the podcast, I think.
Well, we didn't mention her name.
It's very surface level.
It's very surface level. I don't think my creep listeners are going to be able to Google her based on that. Yeah, I haven't been with that many. Had you been with many Eastern Europeans before? Or Central Europe, or whatever they call themselves?
No.
They're like Northeastern Europeans. What do they call themselves?
They call themselves Baltic. They are literally more east than Russia. Do you know about this? The Kaliningrad is a, what's it called, exclave. Right? So you have big Russia, and then they have this little tiny part of Russia that is in between Poland and Lithuania. And they pretend like they don't have nuclear weapons there. And they
absolutely have nuclear weapons there. Yeah, okay.
They're ready to blow up NATO at any second.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And so that's more west than Lithuania. That's west of Lithuania.
So it's kind of a technicality.
Yeah,
but that's what I say to her when she is like, "We're northern, we're Baltic." I'm like, "You are literally more east than Russia."
It's so funny how much they don't want to be Eastern European.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so had you been with Eastern Europeans before?
I don't think so.
Okay, no. Yeah. I met this. Okay, we'll wrap it up in a second. But I met this. I was in Luxembourg 2 weeks ago and did this show. And at the hotel I was staying at, they had like this wellness center. And I didn't manage to organize another show before the show in the area. So I was like, how do I justify spending this money to get to Luxembourg? And so I was like, I'll find a nice hotel and do something nice there the day before, so it's like a little holiday. And this place had like 10 different saunas and a huge swimming pool. And so went there the day before and swam and then saunaed. And when I was in the saunas, I met there was this woman there, and we kind of like exchanged some words. And then in the change room, she complimented my tattoos. And then the next morning, she was at breakfast. I saw her, but I didn't recognize her, and then I sat down. And it just happened that like our two sad, lonely people tables were opposite each other, and we were staring at each other. It was like, "Oh, hey!" And then we chatted a little bit, and we decided to meet for a drink. Unfortunately, my show had been sold out already, and so she couldn't come. But I was like, "Oh, so where are you from?" She's like, "Oh, I live in Dublin." I was like, "Okay, cool." We met up for a drink, and then she's like, "Oh, no, I lived in Madrid before." I'm like, "So are you Spanish?" She was like, "Oh, no, I'm not Spanish." And she just kept avoiding telling me where she was from.
Yeah.
And I was like, "But where are you from?" And she was like, "Romania." Like, she really didn't want to tell me. She's like, I'm like, she's like, Romania. I'm like, I've got so many good friends from Romania. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I just started listing all of my good friends. I'm like, Dragos, Luana, Victor, da-da-da-da. I even dated a guy. And she was like, and the relief on her face and just like the amount of fear and shame she was experiencing for being from Romania was crazy.
The way you're setting it up, I thought you were going to say Russia.
Okay, no. Russians, it's a bit newer that they're...
That's true.
Whereas Romanians have a strong history of being labelled as thieves and gypsies.
Yeah.
I said the G word, but that I'm using it as the slur that people use against them. But like the Romani people, it's a totally different thing. Yeah. Yes. I have a bit about Romanians actually, but I have it because I love Romanians so much, and the whole bit is about shitting on like being like no one chooses to be Romanian, all of this stuff that audiences.
Did you try the bit with her? It's like no, I love Romanians so much. I have this great bit.
I didn't bring it up, but like her reaction to it, to her whole attitude around being Romanian, made me go, I should keep doing this bit because like there is this whole thing, this stigma, but I love Romania.
Yeah.
Like it blows my mind, that anyone would be. Like, Dragos has a whole bit about when he moved to London, like, he had no luck on the dating apps because he was from Romania. And as soon as he removed that, like, he even had a date walk out as soon as he mentioned that he was from Romania.
Where is she from?
Maybe, like...
Moldova.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what's the country?
We do not like each other.
Yeah.
You are Romania, we are Moldova, that's different.
Yeah, that's different. Exactly. We're better. So it's a whole thing, But yeah. All right, if you have a question or any last thoughts or any direction you want to quickly take it in the last 2 minutes?
Any final thoughts or
questions?
How's your stay been in Paris?
My stay's been amazing.
Awesome.
I've had such a comfortable couch, but also I was really quite I've already told you this, but the night that I did my solo at your venue, it was just, I haven't felt that supported. Like, I do have a co-producer that I work with, and he's great, and I love working with him, and he's one of the few people I really work with. But, the level of support and help that you and Casper gave on Tuesday was just, I was really quite shocked at how lovely you guys were. I already knew you guys, but it was just, so lovely, and just, there's a real kind of, I don't know, authentic, sincerity and niceness here that you just don't expect.
The scene is very it's not just me and Casper. The scene in general. If you had done your show with some of the other producers here in Paris, they would have treated you the same.
Yeah, and also hanging out with James last night. It's just Paris has such a reputation for not being friendly. That I think I stepped in, when I stepped into the scene, that was the expectation. But just so warm and lovely, and also all the food you've shown me, all these great places I've been to. Can you say the places that I've been to recommend them for people? Yeah.
So we started with lunch at the Algerian barbecue.
Yes, which is so good. You go and choose your dead animal, and they cook it for you.
Yeah, they put it on the grill and then slather a block of fat. All over while it's cooking. Chef's kiss.
Yes. It was really good, and they have lots of other amazing, yummy stuff on the menu.
Yeah. Then we had McDonald's.
Okay, so we had McDonald's, yes, because you said, Terrence said that every French person says that McDonald's is better in France.
I do not believe this to be true, and it's because it's annoying talking to literally every single French person who believes this. Some of which have never been outside of France.
And so actually, when we were having this conversation, there was a French comic nearby, English comic, but he's French. And we asked him, and he was like, oh, I know that people say this, but they also say it about Burger King, and that I think is true. So we're like, okay, we have to go to McDonald's because it was a Tuesday night, and that's got to be the only thing that's open, really, except for a kebab place. And it was really good. Oh my God, it was the best McDonald's. It was such a good, I had a Royale with cheese, guys. I had to do it. I've never eaten that before. And I'm not a McDonald's person because I was vegetarian for so long and McDonald's is the enemy. But the potatoes, the royale with cheese, the chicken nuggets were chicken nuggets. I don't think you can fuck chicken nuggets up. We went hard, by the way. And then there was a donut, which was fucking super good. Like, I'm still imagining the texture in my mouth.
Average. It's McDonald's.
It was a really good donut. But the macarons were not that great, I think. Maybe the strawberry one was better, but the chocolate macaron
I
was
think
not
the
that
chocolate
good.
one could have been worse.
Yeah.
I'm so torn, like, because I want us to have a nice meal. I want us to enjoy our McDonald's, but not that much.
Because I want to hate McDonald's, and I am very critical. It was an exceptionally good burger, which is crazy to say. Yeah.
But we did agree that when I go to Berlin, we must have McDonald's.
Yes.
To really test the theory.
Yeah, and I think I've eaten McDonald's like 3 times in the last 7 years, and that's been in Berlin, and it was so below, like to the point where I'm like, ooh, and eating it just because it's like I feel bad that the animal died, and I'm like, okay, I should eat this. Yeah, really gross stuff. So yeah, we will go to McDonald's next time you visit Berlin, and then we went to 2 really classy places. Yeah.
We went to 2 brasseries. So the first was Bouillon Chartier. It's very well known, quite touristy. I think it's great. The menu is classic French dishes, and it's not expensive.
No, it's
and
not.
And it's a like beautiful atmosphere. Yeah, so it was great. We had I had beef bourguignon, and you had.
I had a salted cod gratin.
Yeah, salted cod gratin. So like mixed with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, and I had a chicken noodle soup to start. And you had
the pate.
And you had the pate, which was I couldn't handle that. That was rough for me. Yeah, and then the second place was called the Pig's Foot.
Pied de cochon.
Pied de cochon.
So I think it's the first time for both. For me and the other guy we were with, James, who also lives here. It was all our first time eating there, and it was like a bit of a classier version than lunch.
Yeah.
But apparently they're open 24/7.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the food was good.
Yeah.
The food was good. Much more expensive than the other place, but yeah, still good and very nice setting. Yeah. So those are the recommendations. All right. Any last things? I think that's it. All right. That's been so much fun. So that has been Adults Only Comedy Berlin in Paris. Thank you so much and goodbye. That was a salute from Terrence. All right.